democracy is matter of no joke, even though us youth, we tend to make a lot of jokes. So, the future of Bangladesh lies with its youth. And as a Gen Z woman, I'm really excited that our next session focuses on youth employment, unleashing the power of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. This will be a very short session because we'll be, immediately after that, we will have our lunch. So I will, to explore the innovation, skill development, entrepreneurship, and digital transformation, I welcome our speakers and panelists, including Dr. Ashikur Rahman as keynote speaker. He is the regional manager of Asia, centralized support to the ENFP network, as well as Masud Rahman as panel member. He is a former senior design engineer. We also have Muhammad Abdullah Al Mahmood, CEO of Thriving Skill, Nurul Islam Saddam, Central President of BICS, Engineer Bilal Ahmed, Executive Committee Member of Bangladesh Association of Software Information Services, Engineer Tunazina Rahimu, Teacher's Assistant in Brack University, and Consultant to Disaster Management. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a round of applause for our esteemed guests. I respectfully invite our guests to assume their seats, yes, and now I invite Dr. Ashikur Rahman to deliver his keynote speech. Dr. Ashikur Rahman?
You will go ahead. Okay, no worries, go ahead. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I would like to welcome you to the third session of the day and hopefully the last one before lunch. It feels like an absolute miracle to be sitting here and discussing and talking about good governance and prospering economy and everything. And I cannot, I would like to share that for many young voters in their 30s, this would be the first time to vote, including myself. And I would like to seize this opportunity to remind us all with grave gratitude in my heart that this very moment wouldn't be possible without a youth movement. July movement started on the question of asking equal opportunity towards jobs. And Abu Said, Abrar Fahad, Osman Hadi, and countless others, they gave their bloods and lives for giving us insaf. And Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami acknowledges this and is deeply inspired by the youth and is very welcoming to provide them the reward, the scope, and the lives they deserve. There is no way that we can ever repay the martyrs, but at least we can try and uplift the dreams of them so that we can build a better Bangladesh. Now, whenever we are talking about youth, there are just so many things to discuss, but as we have very limited time for today, we will be focusing towards youth employment. You know, in a country like Bangladesh with so many human capital, it is of utmost importance that the youths are given the jobs of their desired and the jobs they deserved. If we don't, then they would turn to a wasted potential, and we cannot let that happen because they can be a cherished asset. On that note, we can hope that we can build a better Bangladesh together, and I would like to give the stage to Dr. Ashik to further enlighten us on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon. I would like to start from the very last word what our panelists mentioned. A time for building Bangladesh together. It's not a limerick or it's not a poetry alone. It demands responsibility. According to the statistics, of Bangladesh Labor Force Survey 2024 of Bangladesh Board of Statistics, it presents a very hard reality for Bangladesh. Currently, we have 2 million youth unemployed. According to the government statistics, the actual number could be much higher. This is a very concerning, even the number is like 2 million. It's all about the age group who is expected to be the most energetic, most innovative, most productive. If they don't find a job, employment, they lost. Literally, they lost. The situation is helping them, turning them toward irregular immigration or become part of social unrest. And even more severe problems than unemployment is underemployment. According to the Labor Force Survey 2024 of Bangladesh Board of Statistics, around 10 million underemployed people are in Bangladesh. The number could be much higher in reality. But the concern is about the individuals who are with higher educational qualifications, with skills and capabilities, who could perform high-valued jobs. But the present situation in Bangladesh forced them to work in low-skilled jobs, to accept low wages employment. As a result, the individual potential is wasted, the productivity declines, and in the economy, basically economy falls into the low productivity traps. In summary, our people are working, but the economy is not benefiting fully from their day labor. It also shows us that the education we are providing in our institutions, school, college, university, madrasa, Tibet, vocational, whatever we have, the institutions that do not match the skills demand that are looking forward from the industry nationally and globally. At the same time, if we think about the international market, let me begin from the international market. We have seen there is a increasing demands in different types of sectors: construction traders, care workers, industry technicians, let's say hospitality professionals, seafarers, drivers, agricultural specialists from many different countries. But the first world, they also want the youth trained with proper knowledge on the activity they're gonna do. They want professionalism. They want working language, job language. Bengali is not enough. And also they want cultural norms and values. So, our policy framework for international market is very clear. We'd like to go for low-skill migration to high-skill youth workforce mobility by reducing the cost for deployment, for placements. We'd like to ensure there is no loophole for the middleman exploitation. We'd like to ensure transparent employment and also government supported activities around the person who would like to travel abroad. If we think about the sectors for overseas and national perspective, there are many high demand sectors. I would like to mention only a few names that will help you to understand that we did segmentation, we did skill mapping, we did the demand driven mapping that actually currently our country wants, and also we are getting requests from overseas. Let's start with construction and infrastructure. It needs skilled workers, skilled masons, technicians, plumbers, supervisors. If you think about the manufacturing, there is the technicians, oil-trained technicians who has the international standards. If we go for digital and IT services, we need more freelancers who work from home, who work from very rural area, who work from different district area, but bring money back to Bangladesh. We also have care economy. I hope you understand. We need more nurses. We need more professional child care professionals. We need more care workers. If you think about the green economy and agriculture, this is the future for Bangladesh. We need more specialists, trained specialists in these fields, as well as retail, hospitality, and transports. We need the trained managers. We need professional people in this field. So let's go for water transport marine service. This is where, which could be newly implemented in Bangladesh, and we could export our talents because we have the opportunity. But still there are a lot of challenges. We did several researches for a long time to understand what exactly happened. Thanks to Dr. Warisul Karim, who mentioned that each year we are actually sending 23 lakhs, 2.3 million people in the job market, but hardly the decent job is only 23,000. If you think about the informal job, it barely has like 1.3 million. Still, there are 1 million who didn't find the job. The main problem is skill mismatch. Our mentality is very clear. We would like to go for certificates in the university. Hardly we find the exact training that demanded by the industry. Also, whatever we are discussing about the skill development, entrepreneurship, education reformation for youth, or in short, youth employment, there is a big problem with our fragmented governance system in Bangladesh. Currently, 7 ministries are part of this. Ministry of Youth and Sport, Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Primary Education and Mass Education, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Industry, ICT Division, and local governments. All are engaged, but there is the fragmented governance that actually stops to get the best benefit from the government. We also notice that our rural youth, our women are really far behind. They don't have sufficient access to finance and mentorship. And there's a huge gap in trainings. Our vocational institutions are providing trainings. Unfortunately, the curriculum is very obsolete. That is not ready for the current one. Forget about the future one. Therefore, inshallah, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, with mandate to govern, we want to facilitate 10 million youth trained with market demand skills. Would like to go for 5 million job placements and creation directly assisted by the government. Would like to go for 500K new entrepreneurs in the market, fully supported, trained, mentored, and financed by the government. Would like to go for 1.5 freelancers. We didn't forget to be freelancers. Would like to bring freelancing home in the village. And finally, in order to do this, we also need a unified governance and educational reform. This is one of the major, measurable implementation strategies we have for 10 million youth trained with market-relevant skills. Our motto is very straightforward. No youth left behind from the planning of Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami. We'd like to go for high-demand skills, including languages, AI, cybersecurity, cloud computing, care economy, green energy, green skills, moral training, ethical training, training on cultural values and norms, and so on. We'd like to introduce youth tech labs in every upazila in Bangladesh. That will help our youth to be ready, like job graduates with global standards. And of course, I hope many of you know that there is a very famous model that is really working in Bangladesh with thousands of models, what is called Ustad Shagred model, at the very rural level. By this, Dr. Professor Warisol Karim mentioned that there will be skill recalibration training scholarships. So those who are studying, let's say those who are dropouts, illiterate students or primary students, those who are like SSC, HSC, 2-year diploma students, those who are studying in vocational TBED or technical education, those who are in the madrasa, religious students, everyone has been considered in our plan. In order to go for 5 million job placements, the number is real and it is possible to implement in terms of domestic and overseas. Would like to bring a very new innovation. Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami would like to go for district youth job banks. In every district, we'll have youth job banks where the job seekers will submit there, will register there, and they will get the job facilitated by the government in the district. We'll collect all the demand from the district, so no one need to come to Dhaka to do the exam. No one need to come to Dhaka to do the interview. Everything will be controlled at the district and divisional level. Through skill mapping, through introducing apprenticeships at the industry, because industry needs experience certificate. And Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami would like to propose and would like to implement internships, apprenticeships at the industry during their graduation level. It will be a bit kind of mandatory, but it will be gradually. Would like to introduce also local and overseas employer commitments. You know that many countries want skilled migrants from Bangladesh. And Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami would like to promise in a way that we will bring the employers in Bangladesh who needs different types of sector-specific skilled young. And of course, IT-based jobs will help a lot, around 40%. Let's go for 500K new entrepreneurs. We are very specific and very focused for our women, youth, and marginalized. Would like to help them by providing access to finance, by helping with incubation and acceleration facilities at the district level. And definitely, our intention from the very beginning is demand-driven, not following the supply chain. We would like to train you. This is not our parameter metrics to understand how it is working or not. Our parameter is to see if the person gets a decent income or not after getting training, after entering in the job field. And of course, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami would like to facilitate the market linkage. So we'd like to bring the market in the home. Let's go for the final one. For doing all this facilitation, commitments, we need a unified government. We need a unified ministry. Thanks to the last person who made the question that we have many different ministries, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we consider this. And we have observed 7 ministries are involved currently helping youth. So we'd like to bring all the departments together under one unified ministry that will help us to get a oil plant activity coordinated by one ministry. We don't need 7 more ministries just for youth employment. So therefore, this is one of the proposals that we would like to go for centralized workforce development and placement in one place, all bringing together. And finally, in order to do all these things, I keep mentioning about education transformation, education transformation. This is the key actually for us that will help us to achieve all the goals. Would like to go for skill-based higher education. Would like to introduce internship during the study period. It would be a bit mandatory internship. Would like to go for expanded, let's say, illiterate pathways to helping low-skill illiterate people to be a little skilled, so he can up-skilling and he can get into the, let's say, he can get into the money generation. Our remittance will boost up. Our remittance will help us if they have a little skill. And finally, would like to go for modernization, not only for technical parts, also for TBED, vocational education. Our intention is to bring all these educational entities into the real picture of the job placement in Bangladesh. Finally, I'd like to mention following, okay, this is a very short time, we cannot explain everything, but please, I would like to ensure that in our policy framework, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami would like to ensure we didn't forget you, those who made the July Revolution. Would like to ensure that no individual talent will be wasted. We'd like to ensure no youth left behind. And our job employment policy is no longer just like sectoral issue. It is our national mission. Thank you so much. And I would like to welcome now Mr. Abdullah Mahmood, our ICT veteran, who will show us the pathway how ICT could be a powerful tool and transform the lives of Bangladesh youth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashik Bhai. Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. Already Ashik Bhai mentioned about different agendas. Now we need to understand from these agendas, it's not working. Oh, yes. From these agendas, actually what is our aspiration? What's our vision? So we are dreaming a country that is powered by AI, and we want to convert the labor-based economy to knowledge-based economy by 2040, not 2030. It's not possible for us to make the country knowledge-based within 2030. That's why we are visioning that we will convert the labor-centric economy to knowledge-centric economy by 2040. If you consider the figures, you see all of our economic figures, remittance, then garments, all these are labor-centric. Our industries are creating FMCGs and second industrial revolution relevant products. We are not the producers of computers or computer relevant products. Even we are not the data creators in some cases. So we want to convert that. When we talk about the freelancing, what's the field? So through ICT, we will actually, okay. We will create 2 million ICT jobs within 2030. It's not 2040. Within 2030, we will create 2 million ICT jobs. This is our target. And second thing is, if we would able to ensure the ICT relevant services, AI relevant services, we would able to provide seamless services to citizens. As you know, government, one of the key agenda of government is to provide services to citizens. So if we would able to enable ICT in citizen services, interestingly, last government developed 365 plus apps, but most of the apps are not running, or citizens are not getting services from those solutions. So we want to ensure that citizens will get ICT enabled services. So these two actually create the jobs in the ICT sectors and in the freelancing sectors. So what are those sectors? If we talk about the ICT areas, you know, we have hardwares, we have softwares, and we have networking infrastructures. Lots of things are there. Through Digital Bangladesh, though it was the branding of last government, unfortunately we are not digital yet. All of our infrastructure or all of our public infrastructure, I would say, this is fragmented. So I would like to show you where we stand right now. Okay. So there are three engines basically. We call number one is public sectors. This is our foundation. Then private sector. This is the engine, and we call human capital. That is the fuel. So our foundation is fragmented. Systems have been developed through siloed mechanism. That is, there is interoperability gap. Ministries cannot interoperate the data, and that's why it is not possible for us to train up the data and to provide AI-enabled services. And we will address that. Second one, for private sectors, we have lots of good examples. MFS, I would say, Bikash has revolutionized mobile financing services. And in case of hardware, we have Walton and Fair Electronics. They have also revolutionized hardware mechanisms. And in the softwares, though we have hundreds of software companies, but unfortunately our export figures is not showing us that we are not good enough. We have BASIS, ECAP, BACO, lots of associations are there, lots of organizations, but unfortunately, our figures, as if I mentioned, you would understand the figure if we consider the ICT export with other sector exports. RMZ is giving us 45 to 48 or 50 billion dollars export, whereas our ICT exports is only 700 million. That means you even didn't cross 1 billion. So we need to address that in the private sectors. And then our human capital, we have demographic dividend up to 2040. As you know, our population, 40% of our populations are youth. If we provide them better skills, they would be actually our asset. So we will set as some agendas. As our time is limited, it's not possible for us to show you all the mechanism that how we actually re-engineer our human capital. So this is our third engine, that is we call the fuel, through which we will actually transform our country from labor-centric economy to knowledge-centric economy. So to do that, definitely we need to address some policy issues. What's that? We need to depoliticize the strategy. Last government developed 39 plus high-tech parks. Unfortunately, these are only infrastructures. It is not creating any ROI, we call return on investments. So we need to address these issues. We need to depoliticize the, I would say, the policy papers we have developed. Actually, we have considered the national issues, not political agendas. Jamaat-e-Islami is not setting policies to serve the political parties. It is actually develop the policies to serve the nations. So we will depoliticize the strategy. Number two is reclaim digital sovereignty. I can tell you one data. Our national ID can be accessed from 182 points. That is, this is very vulnerable. Our data is not sovereign, and there is data breach issues, lots of we call technical, I want to use any technical terms here. You would understand that is we are in a vulnerable condition, we need to address that. And third one is, in the policy, we will re-engineer our human capital. As Ashik Bhai mentioned, we will actually transform the higher education through skill-based. So after the graduation, definitely there would be requirement for upskilling and reskilling, and we are recommending lifelong learning as our agendas. You see, what is your age, whether it is 40, 50, 60, you need to learn because technological disruption is there. Without you learning, you won't able to start. So that's why we are recommending lifelong learning as our key agendas for re-engineering the human capital. So to make this three strategy or three policies, we will actually implement 6 points. Number one is for providing better service to citizens. As the systems are fragmented, isolated, I would say there are some isomorphic mimicry, and the systems are siloed, so we need to address that. We will develop government intelligence systems through which all ministries will be interconnected, and we will get centralized data repository, and under which we would able to create our own data, and it would help us to give seamless service to citizens. So this is the infrastructure issues. If we talk about the connectivity, as you know, right now we have 900 Gbps internet connections connectivity. That is, we have 2,800 Gbps, but right now we are using only 900 Gbps. It's happening due to the technical incapacity. If we bring third submarine cable, we can enrich our connectivity to 5 Tbps, 5 terabit per second. So we'll address that as well. And for payment issues, we call due to the lack of national payment gateway, we are losing 15 to 20% of earnings of the freelancers. So we'll address that, and we will maintain our digital infrastructure on our own, that is cloud-based server maintained by our own national mechanisms. That would actually make the system sovereign. And for human capital, as I said already, we will address that agenda. And number 5th is high-tech job creations. As you see, the main fuel of this century is data. It's no longer petroleum oil. If you have data, that means you have business. All tech giant companies are doing business through data. Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all these companies are doing business through data. So as we have 180 million people, this is a huge asset. All these people are actually generating data, and these tech giant companies are doing business. So I think we have the opportunity to link with these tech giant companies, and we can create high-tech relevant job in our country. And number 6 is definitely we will address the governance and compliance issues. The regulatory agencies, though BTRC and lots of regulatory bodies are there, but unfortunately it didn't serve the purpose of the people. So we need to address that. So if we execute all these 6 points, what we would gain? We are expecting 2 million job creations, ICT job creation. It's not the total job creations. We would create 2 million ICT jobs within 2030. Then our ICT export goal is 5 billion. And if we maintain all the systems we have recommended, it would actually help us to 1.5 billion fiscal recovery. That is, it is wastage. You don't need to invest again and again on separate systems, which created the silos in our system. So we will save that amount in year by year, and definitely we will gain efficiency from 30 to 45%. That means you would able to make your system seamless, and it would provide you better service to citizens. And definitely that would create also job. So by saying so, I am just concluding my presentation here. I hope if we get the opportunity to rule the country, definitely through the system we would eradicate the corruption, and we will convert our labor-centric economy to knowledge-centric economy. Thank you so much.
Right now we are opening the question answer sessions, and before that I would like to give floor to the panel members if they have any comments to add. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Due to the shortage of time, we'll go straight to the points. And our panel members are here. I don't think that we'll be able to answer all the questions. So we'll be more than happy to collect all those questions, and these panelists will be available in future sessions, roundtables, town hall meetings, whatnot, inshallah. My name is Masood Rahman. I am an industry veteran in semiconductor industry. I worked for 32 years in Intel, 28 years, and AMD for 4 years. I'm working with this IT team to make sure the knowledge of our expatriate community translate to the Bangladeshi IT sector and every other sector, inshallah. When Amir-e-Jamaat visited in US in last October, we had the rare opportunity to meet him with a group of diaspora expertise. We exchanged some ideas, and his answer was, I would like to see 2 things from you guys. Number 1, transparency. Number 2 is capability. Do you guys have that? We said, yes, we have. Because the people who are excited of the August Revolution, they see the opportunity that now they can give back to the country. Before that, many diaspora expatriate community came, and they siphoned the billions of dollars, as you know. So this will not happen under the watch of Jamaat-e-Islami. The people in the diaspora community will come, will share their knowledge, expertise, and build the economy and build the country together, inshallah. As I mentioned, I come from the semiconductor background. Only thing you heard about the IT, very small section. If you take the entire IC sectors, there are tremendous opportunity. This is very conservative estimates. Even the semiconductor industry, if you know, this is a heavy capital expenditures involved, right? The fabrication lab costs $20 billion. That's why Bangladesh cannot dream to build a fab facility. But there are many other sections in the semiconductor industry that can be very much available, or we can tap into it. But first and foremost, we need to make the trained workforce. And as you heard from the morning session, and everyone is mentioning training, 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 because we do not have enough semiconductor knowledgeable folks in the, even though we have hundreds of private university, they give thousands of degrees, like 10,000 engineers, 5,000 techs and others, but unfortunately you cannot find 1,000 trained in VLSI or the semiconductor industry. So we'll make sure, because the ecosystem is building. Probably you have heard some of the companies like the Ulka Semi, then Neural Networks, they exist now. And there are a few others, and they formed the BSIA, Bangladesh Semiconductor Industry, and they are trying to launch the BEAR program, which the summit happened a few months ago. BEAR is the biotech, engineering, robotics, and AI. So all trying to convey to you, this is not a pipe dream. If we can work together, if the government is friendly, business friendly, those jobs will come and we'll be able to export many of these things. So with that, another thing that I would like to really tell you, the good news, that in tech industry, only in US itself, we have tens and thousands of very high-tech professionals. Even in my company, in Intel, we have more than 500 top-notch engineers. They work in that company alone. Think about all other companies. If you go to Europe, the same story. Australia, Japan. So if we collectively, we gather those things, then we do not have the shortage of the trainers and shortage of the funders. So that part we'll address through that diaspora involvement. And we already formed Diaspora Technology Forum. So they are already engaged. We are collecting the data and skill set, and inshallah, when Jamaat is in power, we'll push the full force together to make the Bangladesh again the sovereign nation, and other countries will be able to subjugate us the way they did for last 15 years. With that, I hand over the mic to another panelist, Saddam.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Session Chair, for giving me the chance to say something here. At first, I would like to give thanks, dear audience and journalists. I would like to deliver my viewpoint in Bengali because of virtually a huge amount of our audience are connected with us. আমি যদি প্রশ্ন করি এই মুহূর্তে ইয়াং জেনারেশনের কাছে আসলে বার্নিং ইস্যুটা কি, তাহলে সবাই আমাদেরকে একটা বলে হচ্ছে আমাদের লেখাপড়া শেষ করে আমরা জবটা পাবো কিনা। রাইট নাও আমাদের এই দেশে যদি আমরা বলি, আমাদের এই ইয়াং জেনারেশনের মধ্যে কিছুদিন আগে যে বিপ্লবটা হয়ে গেল, যেটাকে আমরা জুলাই রেভলিউশন বলছি, এই রিভলিউশনের মূল পারপাসটা হচ্ছে মানে ইয়াং জেনারেশন তারা চাকরি ক্ষেত্রে তাদের অধিকার পায়নি, যার ফলশ্রুতিতে একটা রিভলিউশন তারা সংগঠিত করে ফেলেছে। কিন্তু আমরা বর্তমান সময়েও এই স্ট্র্যাটেজিক্যাল জায়গা থেকে গভর্নমেন্টকে খুব বেশি ইমপ্রুভমেন্টের দিকে আমরা নিতে পারি নাই বা দেখি নাই, এবং পূর্বে এটা হয়নি কারণ একটা হিজিমনি এখানে আমাদের ছিল, আধিপত্যবাদের একটা থাবা আমাদেরকে এই ডেভেলপমেন্ট জিওপলিটিক্যাল দিক থেকে ডেভেলপমেন্টটা করতে দেয়নি। আমাদের বাংলাদেশে যদি এই প্রবলেমটা নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলি, তাহলে আপনারা দেখবেন যে আমাদের এখানে ফ্রিকশনাল আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট আছে, আন্ডার আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট আছে, এরপরে ডিসগাইজ আনএমপ্লয়েডের সংখ্যা আছে, কমন আনএমপ্লয়েডের সংখ্যা, এটা মেজারমেন্টের বাইরে আমাদের বাংলাদেশ। কিন্তু পিওর আনএমপ্লয়েডের সংখ্যা যেটা গভর্নমেন্ট হিসাব বলে সেটা হচ্ছে মোর দ্যান 3 মিলিয়ন। তো 3 মিলিয়ন এইটা মিটিগেট করার আসলে উপায়টা কি? এই ব্যাপারগুলো নিয়ে বিগত গভর্নমেন্টও ডেভেলপমেন্ট করেছে, কিন্তু সাস্টেনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট তারা করেনি। এই জায়গায় জামাত ইসলামী খুব বেশি এমফাসাইজ দিচ্ছে, এবং জব মার্কেটে প্রতি বছরই আনএমপ্লয়েডের সংখ্যা 2 লাখ মানে 2 লাখ অ্যাড হচ্ছে, এবং এই অ্যাডিশনটা ডে বাই ডে ইনক্রিজ হচ্ছে, যা আমার সোসাইটির জন্য একটা বিশাল বার্ডেন ক্রিয়েট করছে। এই বার্ডেনটা মিটিগেট করার জন্য উপায়টা কি? 2006 সাল থেকে আমার দেশে ডেমোগ্রাফিক ডিভিডেন্ড চলছে, কিন্তু এই ডেমোগ্রাফিক ডিভিডেন্ডকে ক্রাশ করে যেভাবে ওয়েস্টার্ন সোসাইটি অথবা আমার পার্শ্ববর্তী চায়না ডেভেলপমেন্ট করেছে, তারা ইকোনমিক পলিসি রিফরমেশন করেছে 1978 থেকে। এর আগে তার ইকোনমিটা ছিল বাংলাদেশের ইকোনমির চাইতেও ভালনারেবল সিচুয়েশন, কিছু কিছু প্রভিন্সে তার চাইতেও খারাপ অবস্থা ছিল। সেখান থেকে তারা 20 বছরের ব্যবধানে ইকোনমিতে পৃথিবীর সুপার পাওয়ারে পরিণত হয়েছে। তারা গ্রেটার বে এরিয়া তৈরি করেছে, ম্যাকাও রিভারকে তারা ডেভেলপমেন্ট করে ফেলেছে, সেখানে তারা 4.4 ট্রিলিয়ন ইউএস ডলারের ইকোনমি ডেভেলপ করার পরিকল্পনা করছে, যার এখন ইকোনমিক ভ্যালু 2.2 ট্রিলিয়ন ইউএস ডলার। তো এই জিনিসগুলো রিশাফল করার জন্য এখন ইয়াং জেনারেশন বা ডেমোগ্রাফিক ডিভিডেন্ডকে কিভাবে কাজে লাগানো সম্ভব, ইয়াং জেনারেশনকে ইম্পাওয়ার করা সম্ভব, সেই জিনিসগুলো নিয়ে আমাদেরকে এখন ভাবতে হবে। পলিটিক্যাল জায়গা থেকে যারা দেশ গড়ার চিন্তা করে তাদেরকে ভাবতে হবে। আমার আজকের এই প্রেজেন্টেশন বা সামগ্রিক বিষয়গুলো নিয়ে জামাত ইসলামী যেই কনসার্নটা দিচ্ছে ইয়াং জেনারেশনের প্রতি, এবং জিওগ্রাফিক্যাল কারণে আমাদের দীর্ঘ সময় ধরেই আমার এডুকেশন সিস্টেম এবং আমার পাশাপাশি ইয়ুথ এম্পাওয়ারমেন্টের জায়গাগুলোতে অনেক বেশি বাধা সৃষ্টি করা হয়েছিল। যেহেতু জামাত ইসলামী কোনো আধিপত্যবাদের বিষয়গুলোকে টলারেট করে না, তার ম্যান পাওয়ারকে সে এম্পাওয়ার করতে চায়, দেশের ডেভেলপমেন্ট নিয়ে সে কাজ করে, কথা বলে। এই জায়গায় আমরা খুবই স্যাটিসফাইড যে আগামীর বাংলাদেশের, নতুন বাংলাদেশের যে স্বপ্নটা দেখছি, আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট সিচুয়েশনকে রিডিউস করা এবং আমাদের দেশের ইয়াং জেনারেশনকে এম্পাওয়ার করার জন্য এটা একটা বেটার অপরচুনিটি নিয়ে তারা যে ভাবনা করছে, যে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট ক্রিয়েশনের জন্য তারা চিন্তা করছে, নিঃসন্দেহে এই সোসাইটির জন্য এটা একটা বেটার ফিউচার নিয়ে আসবে। এবং আমাদের দেশের এই বেসিক প্রবলেমটা যদি রিডাকশন করা সম্ভব হয়, তাহলে ইকোনমির ক্ষেত্রে একটা চমৎকার একটা ডেভেলপমেন্ট আমরা দেখতে পাবো ইনশাআল্লাহ। তো সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আসসালামু আলাইকুম রহমতুল্লাহ।
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Belal Ahmed. I am representing ICT business industry. So you already heard about the business, ICT planning. So currently our GDP is solely dependent on the apparel industry and remittance. So we want to focus on ICT, how we can create an alternative source of GDP for our country. For that, we have already invested in lots of fund in our infrastructure. So we want to make sure that these infrastructure are not used properly. So we want to use this infrastructure properly. There are lots of policy also in places, but not workable policies. So we want to make sure these policies are up to the mark. So globally, every day, ICT is improving. I mean, lots of new technology is coming. So we want to ensure that we are up to the mark with the competing with the global level. So for that, youth is our main workforce. I mean, youth is our main soldiers. So we want to ensure that ICT will be our main tools for creating jobs. So thank you for coming, and please inspire us. And I think ICT will be play very big role in our economy in future. Thank you very much.
Microphone.
Thank you. I think we have we are well over our time. Do we have time for questions? The panelists will be there, so maybe 1 or 2 questions we can take. Thank you.
Any questions? Can you give the mic? Can you give the microphone? Okay. Okay, that's close.
Excellencies and distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum and a very good noon. The first question is that there is a corruption ecosystem in Bangladesh developed in last 1.5 decade. This corruption is jeopardizing all the efforts that we made. Especially, I want to say something which will cover the last 3 sessions. In Bangladesh, a bureaucratic system that existing at this moment, we can say that it is developed and it is spoiling the development process. I can cite one example. During British regime, in the 1910, Lord Hardinge prepared a bridge over the river Podda, and Lord Hardinge arranged the 2-line railway track in that bridge. But unfortunately, what unfortunate nation we are, that after hundreds of years, we have prepared a bridge on the river Podda. There is a only single rail track. What a atrocity has played to the nation through a development. You know that development with corruption, corruption-induced development is the most terrible exploitation for a nation. দুর্নীতি দুষ্ট উন্নয়ন হচ্ছে এই পৃথিবীতে সবচেয়ে ভয়ঙ্কর একটি শোষণ। এই শোষণের গড়াকালে আমরা পড়েছিলাম গত প্রায় 1.5 দশক। আমি গত যে 3টি সেশন হয়েছে, 3টি সেশনের একটি কথা বলি শেষ করতে চাই যে গত একটি প্রোগ্রামে আমিরে জামাত আমাদের গিয়েছিলেন একটা প্রোগ্রামে চিন্ময় সামুয়েলকে, তিনি সেখানে বলেছিলেন যে 4টা বিষয়: এডুকেশন, করাপশন, জাস্টিস অ্যান্ড ইউনিফাইড নেশন। I think that out of these all, that today, out of these 3 sessions we have discussed about the education. This education system should be reformed in such a way, because our education ministry is the most corrupted organization. So we have to elevate, get rid of from this corruption. You know that there is an Arab Spring. The Tunisian dreams has been jeopardized because of the bureaucratic system. And if we could not get rid of from this bureaucratic system, corruption of these bureaucrats, we cannot build our dream Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you. I think what you mentioned about education, we will have a separate session for this.
Thank you. It's a good suggestion, actually. It's not a direct question. He has given some advice also. We'll be taking note of that. But in order for end the session, we have 2 distinguished guests. She will mention the name. They can make a couple of comments.
I'm requesting comment from Mr. Faisal Samad, former Senior Vice President, BGMEA.
Hello, my name is Abdul Halim. I am retired Additional Secretary. I have 2 questions. One is that Indian ICT export $85 billion, and they employ 3.5 million workers. But what are the constraints in our sector? Why we are not making headline in this regard? Second question is that why you could not produce a skilled manpower, as we know that people from abroad working here, as many as 5 lakhs. This is my question.
Okay, for ICT related job, as I said, last government targeted $5 billion ICT export within 2024, but unfortunately the figure is only 700 million. So you know the culture has been totally diluted and it's polarized. We need to develop new culture under which we would able to generate the return on investment of our actual ICT investment. So since there was no accountability, no transparency, that's why we didn't get the expected result.
Okay, I'm requesting again Mr. Faisal Samad, former Senior Vice President of BGMEA, for a remark. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Shubhaparno. Actually, I've listened to the presentation so far, and thank you very much. I think that is very encouraging, the kind of information that you've shared. I represent the RMG sector. So RMG sector, as you know, has been the backbone of the economy, and this is how we have developed the economy. And so far, it's been a good progress, but there are lots of challenges. I think that আপনারা যারা IT সেক্টরে আছেন, আপনারা ইভেন আমার মনে হয় যে যদি সুযোগ থাকে বিনিয়োগের, তাহলে ইভেন আমাদের সেক্টর থেকেও বিনিয়োগ হবে। এবং আপনারা জানেন যে কর্মসংস্থান যেটা হয়েছে আমাদের ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে, যে লেবার ইন্টেন্সিভ ইন্ডাস্ট্রি যেটা এমপ্লয়মেন্ট জেনারেশন করছে, আশা করি যে ইন্ডিয়া যেভাবে করেছে প্রগ্রেস ইন দ্য আইটি সেক্টর, if you have a good plan, তাহলে I think the IT sector can also grow progressively. I wish you all the best, এবং আমাদের সেক্টর থেকেও যদি কোনো সহযোগিতা দরকার পড়ে, ইভেন আমাদের সেক্টরকেও আসলে ফোর্থ রেভলিউশন, ইন্ডাস্ট্রিয়াল রেভলিউশনে যদি আমাদেরকে যদি মোকাবেলা করতে হয়, তাহলে কিন্তু আপনাদেরকে সহযোগিতা দরকার আছে। So if you can bring that technology to our industry, then I think that we can also be a sustainable industry. ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful remark. And the
Assalamu
next.
alaikum. আমার একটা কোশ্চেন আছে this distinguished প্যানেলের কাছে। You are young and সুতরাং আইডিয়া অনেক বেশি ভালো, very nice presentation, very impressive. আমি ব্যক্তিগত এক্সপিরিয়েন্স থেকে বলছি, there is a big gap in IT knowledge between the urbans and the rural population. The gap is so huge that it is unbelievable. Because I can speak from my own experience. I have a very, very modest computer training center in my ancestral home in Bogura. And you know, the young youth, both male and female, I mean, they cannot even handle the mouse. We have to teach them how to handle the mouse. This is one problem. And another huge problem, which I don't know how you people will address. You mentioned that the jobs will be created through freelancing. Now, freelancing, you need to have skills in English.
Yes.
Written and specially spoken. With very difficulties, one can write one sentence of English, which is also full of mistakes. And when it comes to speaking, they are so nervous, they can't even, communicate. So this huge gap, how, you are going to address? Young people in our country, those who are graduates from the universities, they cannot write, they cannot read, they cannot speak English. So this idea, it is very promising. But this is my question. How will you bridge that gap?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dilara. I admire you for your passion and all those activities you have done. 2 points that you mentioned, this is a chronic problem. It will not be solved overnight, but inshallah, we'll be taking notes and our teams continuously work to make those progress in a structured way, inshallah. Due to the time, we'll probably go for the comments, like one distinguished gentleman has a comment.
Thank you so much, our amazing audience. Thank you so much for being patient. And now let's get you energized, okay? So we would now like to announce our lunch and prayer break. Starting from now, we will reconvene at 2:30 after lunch and prayer break. Amir Jamaat, along with the senior guests and diplomats, will be escorted by our volunteers in a different room, different arrangement for their lunch break. And the rest of us, we will be having our lunch in the reception. We have a buffet arranged. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our honorable panelists, for your amazing discussion on youth policy. And I'd like to remind our guests that we will be reconvening here at 2:30 p.m. We will be having sessions on women, education, and healthcare. Thank you so much.